So y'all, they are finally clearing house over at Fort Hood, and it can't come soon enough. So in an attempt to do an overhaul of the now infamous Fort Hood, it was announced on Tuesday that some major things have taken place there, major changes. So these changes are starting with 14 officers or enlisted soldiers being fired or suspended. Now they're also rolling out some new policy changes in hopes of combating the bad leadership that's been going on there, and that has been really at the nucleus of these nightmarish headlines coming out of Fort Hood. If you've been following the headlines, and you know, these headlines are ranging from all kinds of violence, all different types of assaults on our soldiers, as well as soldiers losing their lives senselessly at the hands of others. Army Secretary Ryan McCarthy fired 3 of the top commanders and suspended 2 others while investigations are taking place. Now, when Ryan McCarthy did speak to the reporters and whatnot about this, I mean, he was pretty open and honest about what was going on. He said all of these issues, all of the breakdown in policies and procedures that were, in place to try and prevent stuff like this from happening, they failed. And you know why? Because it's bad leadership. Now, for me personally, the Vanessa Guillen case is the one that really put Fort Hood and that whole situation on the map. Now, for those who might not be familiar with who Vanessa was, she lost her life April 22nd, 2020 at Fort Hood. She lost her life to another soldier, Aaron David Robinson. Now, eventually some of her remains would be found buried near a river on June 30th. Aaron would take his own life before he could be taken into custody and brought to justice, but his accomplice, his girlfriend, his gal pal, Cicely Aguilar, she was apprehended. She is in custody. Now, her trial and court dates and stuff, they keep getting pushed out, but her next one is scheduled for January 19th, 2021. Now, actually what's going to take place is January 5th, she's having like a rearrangement to essentially see what she's still going to do about these charges. Now, depending on what she decides to do there, she's still like, we're going to trial. Okay, January 19th, we very well might see jurors getting selected for said trial. She's been charged with 3 felony counts of conspiracy to tamper with evidence. Now, the Chief of Staff of the Army did speak to Vanessa Guillen's mother, and they told her, you know what, we're going to fix these issues, we're going to hold leaders accountable, we're going to make the changes necessary to hopefully prevent the horrible stuff that happened to her, from happening to somebody else. Now, Vanessa's mother is grateful for that, obviously, but she's also like, you know what, I also want to see the people that felled my daughter serve some jail time. Now, one thing I thought was interesting in the stuff that I was reading is Vanessa Guillen's family's attorney, Natalie Cowam. She said that, through her stuff, she's discovered that Fort Hood was being used almost like a training facility for new criminal investigation officers. Now, because of that, there was like this large turnover rate, and so you had all these new CID officers who, didn't have a lot of training, they were getting high turnover rates, so they were overworked, and, didn't know what they were doing, essentially. So some of these people are the ones that were like fired and suspended. Another thing I thought was interesting is some of the new policies that they're putting in place. Now, as I have followed these cases through the year, one thing that kept popping up to me is I just felt like somebody could go missing from Fort Hood and it was immediately like, oh, okay, bye, AWOL, see you later, with no real rhyme or reason or question to it. Even when all these circumstances around it were like, this doesn't seem like an AWOL situation. Why aren't we looking into this? Well, they're apparently, allegedly, let's see it happen and be put into practice, coming up with new policies to try and prevent this. Now, under this new policy, it would require the leaders to list the service members as absent unknown for up to like 48 hours. And now, during that time, they want them to do all that they can to locate that soldier, to figure out, is this absence, really what it is? Are they voluntary? Did they just go off on their own? Or is this truly an AWOL? And so hopefully what will happen is when they do this, some of these cases that we've seen where it's clearly not an AWOL, but it's being listed as that, they'll get to the bottom of it quicker and hopefully, save lives, get, justice sooner, and all of that. None of it can hurt. Now, y'all, also, we have our own, what looks like and sounds like version of Fort Hood cropping up here in my own backyard in North Carolina at Fort Bragg. I mean, I was just like, what are these people doing to our soldiers? Enrique Roman Martinez was a paratrooper with the 82nd Airborne Division. He was stationed in May at Fort Bragg here in North Carolina. Now, Enrique went with some friends camping over the Memorial Day weekend here at the Outer Banks. He was last seen on May 22nd at a campsite on South Core Banks. South Core Banks is one of the islands that makes up the Cape Lookout National Seashore. So this group allegedly went to bed and claims that when they woke up, Martinez was gone and his wallet and cell phone were left behind at the campsite. So they reported him, this group of friends, reported him missing the evening of May 23rd. And it was around like 7 p.m. on the 23rd that they called 911. Now on that 911 phone call, they tell the dispatcher, you know what, we're afraid he like got up during the middle of the night and hurt himself, which I find that to be interesting. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly read some of the quotes that they said, because it's kind of troubling some of the things that these friends are saying. We were trying to find a park ranger or their offices or anything, and so we went all the way to the ferry and found that we needed to dial 911. Okay, so I have been to this island many times. I've taken the ferry over there. I've been doing this since I was a kid. So number one, it's very eerie to be like, oh my God, that happened there. But this is literally a desolate type island. Like, you can get dropped off by ferry. I mean, that's how you're going to get over there. Now you can have your cars and stuff like that brought over, you know, but it's nothing that you're going to like take a car in a bridge or something like that. And so you're really kind of cut off from civilization. There is this desolate vibe over there. You do, you know, have to get up with the ferry people to get back over. So if something goes wrong, it's not good. However, ferries do kind of come and go all day long, but there is going to come a certain point where, you know, no man's land. Now, I've even posted pictures and done videos here on the channel of this island. I mean, there's wild horses. It is beautiful there. But also, something sinister was going to happen. I mean, this is kind of a perfect place for it to happen. Now, a spokesperson for the national park, the Cape Lookout Seashore, they had a very different version of events to tell. So the park rangers told the spokesperson, you know what, we did encounter this group of friends. And they said they encountered them when they were like, you know, asking them to move one of their vehicles away from the sand dune. And they had encountered them earlier in the day. Now, when it became clear that like, okay, this isn't going to be trouble, this group of dudes is going to like move the vehicles, you know, they went on their way. But the park ranger said never once did they say anything about a missing friend or really even act like something was wrong. So basically they're like, you know what, you're going to have to ask these guys why they didn't say anything, because we don't know. We didn't hear that from them. Now, the truly horrific part about this is, yes, his remains were found, but when I say remains, I mean, there's very little of them. It was just his head. That's it. That's all that was found. Obviously, they know something went terribly wrong. Now, the autopsy, if you will, did show there's like no, you know, drugs or anything like that. It did show like chopping, you know, kind of like things to his neck. So there's that. Clearly we know he was, you know, his life is gone, obviously, you know, his head's gone. But, you know, they don't know what happened to his body because they haven't found it at the time of this recording. So, you know, while they can say, yeah, you know what, if somebody's head is in this state, usually that's foul play. I mean, it's obvious. But we really can't say what happened before that. So, you know, again, like I said, y'all, this island is vast and it's really nothing's out there. So if they had all night long, and again, this is allegedly, I don't know if these people did this, but it is totally suspect that this guy went missing overnight, and then all of a sudden they're like, well, we're trying to call and you know, we're looking for a park ranger, and then the park rangers are like, oh no, we found him, but they didn't act like anything was wrong. I mean, it's not a good look, okay? You know, something happened to this dude to get beheaded on that island, and the friends seem to be covering up, you know. But again, if they had all night out there, y'all, anything is possible. Now, special agents and the Army CID are working closely to try, you know, and get tips to figure out what's going on. They do have a reward up. If you look in the description below, there's information about that. There's the tip line that you can call. You know, it's anonymous, all that kind of stuff. There's also a way to do, you know, things online so you don't have to talk to somebody if you're not comfortable with that. Again, like I say in all these situations, if you know something, call. If you feel like you might know something but you're not sure, call. It's better to call. But again, all that information is in the links below. Now, y'all, sadly, I have one more thing to discuss about Fort Bragg. I can't believe I have all these conversations about, our soldiers just going by the wayside left and right. Recently, 2 more bodies were discovered at a Fort Bragg training area. Now, one of them was a veteran and another one was a sergeant. Now, I haven't found much on these 2 deaths, just that, it was at a Fort Bragg training area. Foul play is suspected and it's being investigated. So I'm going to keep my eye out on that. One was Master Sergeant William Levine II. He was 37 years old. And the other was a veteran, Timothy Dumas, and he was 44 years old. So again, if you know anything that might help with this, check out the links down below, give them a shout out or give them a call, whatever you have to do, and just get the information that you might have over there so we can hopefully bring answers and justice. Hopefully we're not going to see another Fort Hood popping up over here. I mean, my God. So that's it. If you want to hear my commentary on cases like this or other cases, just click some of the videos that are popping up right here. Thank you to all the channel members, Patreons, channel mods, Sofa Squad. This channel wouldn't be here without you. And thank you to you for watching. I'll see you next time.